What is the Legislature? Welcome to the Civics Academy Governance series. In these videos, we explore different aspects of democratic governance and the concept of the separation of powers as one of the key features of democracy. In this video, we look at the legislative branch of government, its responsibility and tasks. Democracies are characterized by the separation of functions and powers between the three branches of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Each branch checks the power of the other two so that there is a balance of power between them. The legislature is responsible for passing laws and for holding the executive branch of government accountable. The Zimbabwean Constitution provides that the legislature consists of parliament and the president, acting in accordance with the Constitution. The legislative authority in the national sphere of government is vested in Parliament, which is the supreme lawmaking body in the country. At provincial level, provincial councils may make laws only when authorized to do so by the national parliament. Urban and rural local authorities may make bylaws when an act of parliament confers such power on them. In this video, we will concentrate on the national parliament and outline what it does in line with Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean parliament is situated in Harare. It is the place where our elected representatives meet and carry out their work. Our parliament is bicameral. That means that we have two houses of parliament known as the Senate and the National Assembly. The Senate is made up of 80 members, including 6 from each of the 10 provinces, 18 chiefs, and 2 people representing people with disabilities. The 60 elected senators are chosen by proportional representation based on the votes cast for political parties in each of the provinces in a general election. The National Assembly consists of 210 members elected by secret ballot from the 210 constituencies into which Zimbabwe is divided. Until 2023, there are an additional 60 female members elected by proportional representation, 6 in every province. Now that we know what Parliament is, let's talk about what Parliament does. Each house has its own distinct role and functions as set out in the Constitution. However, there are also many instances when the two houses act together to conduct joint business. To simplify, we are referring to both houses of Parliament here. They have 3 main functions or areas of jurisdiction. These are: 1. To initiate, prepare, consider, or reject any legislation. When a piece of legislation comes before Parliament for consideration, it is called a bill. When it is passed, it is called an act. Bills are usually introduced by the executive, but they can also be introduced by MPs and are then discussed in parliamentary committees, which may amend provisions and approve them before both houses of Parliament vote on whether to pass them. Parliament must ensure that all bills conform to the provisions of the Constitution before being passed. Otherwise, the High Court can declare a law, or parts of it, unconstitutional and invalid. Unless that ruling is appealed to and overturned by the Constitutional Court, any such law has no force and effect, as if it was never passed. Parliament may also amend the Constitution with a 2/3 majority of votes of all parliamentarians. Furthermore, the Constitution requires Parliament to ensure that interested parties are consulted about bills being considered by Parliament unless such consultation is inappropriate or impracticable. 2. Oversight of the executive. Parliament monitors and oversees expenditure by the state and all institutions and agencies of government at every level, including statutory bodies, provincial and metropolitan councils, and local authorities. Every year, the minister responsible for finance must present to the National Assembly a statement of the estimated revenues and expenditures of the government for the next financial year. This is called the budget, and it must be scrutinized and approved by the National Assembly. In addition to financial matters, the vice presidents, ministers, and deputy ministers must attend Parliament and parliamentary committees in order to answer questions concerning other matters for which they are collectively or individually responsible. At least once a year, the President must address a joint sitting of both Houses of Parliament on the state of the nation. 3. To protect the Constitution and to promote democratic governance. Parliament has the power and duty to ensure that the provisions of the Constitution are upheld and that all institutions and agencies of government at every level act constitutionally and in the national interest. This means that all institutions and agencies of the state and government, nationally, provincially, and locally, are accountable to Parliament. The Senate and the National Assembly carry out their duties in different ways. Each house meets in its own plenary session to pass legislation and debate issues. In extraordinary circumstances, the Senate and the National Assembly can meet in joint sittings to debate important issues of the day or to listen to important speeches. Beyond these regularly scheduled plenary sessions, the President may at any time summon Parliament for an extraordinary sitting. Parliamentary work is done in a number of different committees, consisting of smaller groups of members. Committees enable members of Parliament to develop expertise and in-depth knowledge of the specific committee's area of responsibility, for example, health, education, or foreign policy. Committee meetings are generally open to the public. Summary: the Legislature is the representative of the people of Zimbabwe. The members of Parliament are given their mandates through regular elections and vote on issues of national importance in Parliament. Parliament is responsible for passing laws and for holding the executive branch of government accountable. The power of Parliament is limited by the Constitution. The judiciary checks the exercise of power by the Legislature. Through its work, Parliament is tasked to make sure that the interests of the people of Zimbabwe are represented in all their diversity.